Hello and welcome to Module 3 of Title IX. During this presentation, we're doing a quick review of information learned in Module 2, as well as information about healthy relationships and boundaries and dating violence prevention. Consent is defined as a knowing and voluntary clear permission by word or action to engage in sexual activity. It is important to always get consent if you want a sexual encounter to escalate. While consent may be given by word or by action during or after an encounter, it is best to get consent before the encounter begins to avoid confusion. Remember, individuals may experience the same interaction differently than the other, which is why each party is responsible for determining if the other consents to conduct. 3 examples of ways to prevent sexual misconduct include communicating what you are comfortable with and not comfortable with, knowing what appropriate behavior is and calling out inappropriate behavior, and encouraging teammates to say no to any sexual act they are not comfortable with. Please take a moment to read the examples of inappropriate behavior on the screen now. If you don't remember from our last module, as a bystander, there are typically 4 ways for you to intervene: direct, delay, distract, or delegate. Direct means approaching the perpetrator directly and respectfully telling them that their behavior is inappropriate. Delay means waiting until the incident is over and approaching either or both parties to convey your thoughts in a respectful manner. Distract means averting the attention of the perpetrator from the victim to something else, like starting a conversation with the victim. And delegate means to get a group of people to stop the behavior with you. The College of Charleston is committed to a policy of equal opportunity for all persons and does not discriminate on any of the reasons listed on this slide. The college also prohibits retaliation against any person for bringing a complaint of discrimination or for participating in an investigation of a complaint of discrimination. The Office of Equal Opportunity is where to go if you feel as if this statement has been violated by someone at the college. If you need to contact the Office of Equal Opportunity, see the information on screen. Please read the official definitions of all sexual misconduct. You can pause now if you need more time to read these definitions. It is the policy of the College of Charleston to respect the rights and the dignity of the individual. Sexual misconduct, including violence, violates this principle and will not be tolerated. It is a violation of college policy to discriminate against, harass, or abuse any student, employee, or applicant for admission or employment to the college, or those attempting to participate in our educational program of activity based on sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression. The college is committed to taking immediate, equitable, and effective steps to respond to sexual misconduct, to prevent its recurrence, and to address its effects. The College of Charleston has procedures for internal disciplinary investigation and action in cases of alleged domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking, which clearly provide the college will provide prompt, fair, and impartial investigations and resolutions. The procedures are carried out by officials who receive annual training on issues related to domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking, as well as how to conduct investigations and hearings that protect safety and promote accountability. This includes officials designated to institute an internal and administrative procedures. Both the complainant and the respondent are entitled to the same opportunity to be accompanied to any related meeting by an advisor of their choice. Both the complainant and the respondent receive simultaneous written notice of the outcome of the proceeding, appeal procedures, any change to the results before it becomes final, and the final results. The College of Charleston uses the standard of evidence called preponderance during an internal conduct proceeding involving an incident of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking. Preponderance means that the decision maker bases their determination on what more than 50% of the evidence supports. On the screen now are some resources that you can use that the college offers. Please feel free to pause or even take a screenshot of this information. As previously discussed in Module 2, there are 2 different processes that the college can take with a complaint. Before we begin new information from Module 3, please take a moment to look at the information that we gave in Module 2 and are giving again now. To start this module, we are going to watch a short video. Please pay attention.
Welcome to Cougar Curriculum. In this video, Vivian, a student at the College of Charleston, has alleged non-consensual sexual intercourse against another student, Luke. Both Luke's and Vivian's advisors will interview them about the allegation, and you will hear the incident retold from each of their perspectives.
Good morning, Luke. I understand that you need some assistance with a possible sexual misconduct complaint at the College of Charleston, and you've asked me to act as your advisor. Thank you for filling out the FERPA disclosure form so I could get some information from the college. They sent over some training materials to me, and I just want to make sure you understand my role. I can help you through this process, but I cannot act on your behalf or answer any questions on your behalf at any interview or at a hearing. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good morning, Vivian. I understand you need help with the sexual misconduct complaint you filed with the college. You've asked me to act as your advisor, and I'm here to help guide you through that process. In order for me to help you as best I can, I need to know as much about what happened as possible. Shall we begin?
Yes. Oh my God, what a fun night.
Okay, careful.
My friends really seem to like you.
Yeah? I like them too. Do you have any food?
Yes, we do. Can you grab me a water? I'm feeling a little dizzy.
Oh, yeah. Here you go. You need help with that?
Can you? Thank you.
Can you tell me from your own memory what happened?
We had gone out that night with some of my friends, and when we got back to my room, we kissed. And I remember feeling really dizzy, probably from the drinks we had. But not that I was super drunk or anything. I just felt dizzy. And I remember him offering to help me undress because I was having a hard time with the buttons on my shirt. And I thought it was really sweet until he started undoing my shorts. And I remember telling him that I needed some water and that I felt a little dizzy, but he just kept touching me. And I told him I didn't want to have sex because my roommates might hear us. So he gets up, closes the door, turns around with the straightest look on his face and says, "Stop being dramatic." He then proceeds to come to the bed where I was sitting and kisses and touches me again. And I didn't want to have sex with him. I just felt pressured. I sort of froze, and it was like I couldn't say no. So I just pretended to go along with it. I don't know how convincing I was, but he'd already tried to block me from leaving the room, you know?
How so? Did he tell you that you couldn't leave? Did he threaten you?
When he stood in front of the door, it was pretty clear to me that it was to stop me from leaving the room.
Can you tell me your memory of what happened the night of the incident?
We had gone out a couple of times. This was, I think, our third date, and we've been hanging out with some of our friends, and we had a couple of drinks. We had a good time. When we got back to her room, she, kissed me and was fidgeting with her buttons. And then she asked me to take her shirt off. It seemed to me that she wanted to hook up.
Vivian alleges that you assaulted her after persisting in asking for sex when she indicated she didn't want to. Is that accurate to your memory?
No. What happened was we were kissing and I was undressing her like she wanted me to. She suddenly seemed concerned that her roommate was going to hear us or bother us or something, so I got up to make sure the door was closed, to make her feel more comfortable. When I got back to the bed, she was just kind of looking at me, and I said something like, come on or don't worry or something. When I got up to close the door, I noticed her roommate's door was already closed, so there was no way they'd hear us. So I just kind of reassured her we had privacy. I may have joked that she was being dramatic. I mean, even if her roommate was to hear, they wouldn't care. But I don't remember. I mean, we used to joke all the time with each other. When I got back to the bed, I kissed her, and she kissed me back, and we started making out again. She seemed into it. If she hadn't seemed into it or said that she wasn't, I would have stopped. I'm not a rapist.
According to the complaint, she alleges that you blocked the door so she couldn't leave. Is that true?
No. Like I said, I only got up to close the door because she said her roommate was home. I never blocked her from leaving. I never blocked the door. I'm not this monster who trapped her in her room. If she ever said she felt uncomfortable, I would have stopped. If she said she wanted to leave the room or wanted me to open the door, I would have moved. If she would have said stop or no, I would have listened.
Have you ever been accused of sexual assault in the past?
No, never. Till now.
How do you define consent and know you have consent?
I never do anything if the other person doesn't want to. Mutual agreement is super important.
How do you define consent and express consent?
Just respecting limits, you know? And I think it's good to read each other's body language. I mean, if someone looks uncomfortable, then they most likely are.
Did you give verbal consent?
He never asked.
You said she asked you to help unbutton her shirt, but did she give explicit verbal consent to have sex? And what about nonverbal consent?
I don't know. She made a move on me. I assumed she wanted to keep going.
I've read the college's policy, and it provides that consent can be given non-verbally. Nonverbal consent could look like kissing back or touching back. Did you give any indications non-verbally that you consented?
I mean, like I said, I pretended to go along with it, but I wasn't as talkative as I normally am. And I think I looked pretty uncomfortable. He should have seen that, I think.
What was the nature of your relationship prior to this incident?
We had been on a couple dates. We were texting every day. It seemed that we were getting closer, more intimate. We had already hooked up a few times.
What do you mean when you say hooked up?
Kissed, made out.
What was the nature of your relationship prior to the incident?
We had just started dating. I liked him. I think he liked me too. We talked or texted almost every day, and that night was our third date. I had introduced him to my friends. They liked him too. We kissed a few times.
You mentioned that you felt dizzy from alcohol?
Yes,
How much did you have to drink, and over what time period?
maybe 2 beers over 3 hours.
Was that normal for you?
Not common, but not abnormal for 2 beers.
Under the college's policy, you can't consent to sex if you're incapacitated, like from alcohol. Incapacitation means that you didn't understand the who, what, when, where, or why of what was happening. Were you that drunk?
No, I was a little drunk, buzzed, but I knew what was going on.
Anything else? Any drugs, prescription or recreational? I see in the policy that the college has an amnesty provision that will keep you from getting in trouble for reporting minor violations of drug or alcohol policy. This amnesty provision is to encourage reporting of sexual abuse or other issues. Alcohol or drugs can facilitate an assault, but they never excuse it.
No.
What about Luke?
No, I'm pretty sure he wasn't drinking that much, but I honestly don't know. It was a long time ago.
Do you think Vivian was too drunk to consent?
Not necessarily. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that we had a couple of drinks beforehand, but I was only a little buzzed. It's not like either of us were blackout drunk or unaware of what we were doing. So I'm not really sure if that counts, but I guess it could have possibly altered her perception as to what was happening between us.
How's it been going for you since this happened? What's the impact for you been on campus?
Well, word spreads fast. We have a lot of the same friends. And by the next week, I was getting messages about it. And I just felt, I don't know, bare. The fact that he would tell people that he slept with me when I didn't even want to have sex with him in the first place just really upset me.
Are you using the college's counseling service or any other resources in the community?
Yeah, I've actually been seeing a therapist for some years, and it took me a really long time to talk to her about what happened. But she really opened my eyes to see that sexual assault isn't just forcing someone to have sex.
According to the information you gave me, this night was 2 months ago. Why have you decided to report it now? Has something happened more recently?
Well, at first I thought what happened to me wasn't sexual assault because I eventually went along with it. But my therapist told me that agreeing to do something that you don't want to do can actually be a survival tactic, and that I didn't want to have sex, but I was more so afraid of what would happen if I kept saying no. But going forward, I now know that giving into coercion isn't consent.
How has this accusation and complaint impacted you?
Not to sound like a terrible person, but besides my few close friends, it feels like nobody really wants to be around me anymore. I almost got kicked off the soccer team, and if she decides to take this to a legal level, I still could be. I mean, I understand that things have probably changed for her because of what happened, but she should have told me that she didn't want to sleep with me.
You will be asked during this investigation, and I need to hear from your perspective, did you assault Vivian?
No. I'm not into having sex with someone who doesn't want to have sex with me. I swear, if I had any indication that she didn't want to have sex, or if she told me she didn't, I would have listened.
We've covered everything I think I need to know at this point. Is there anything else that you think I need to know? Also, you will have an opportunity to make an opening or a closing statement at a hearing. Have you given any thought to what you might want to say?
As for personal interactions, I think having a mutual respect for each other is important. And understanding that the other person might not be as interested in wanting to take things further, and really knowing for absolute sure that the other person is interested and wants to keep going each step of the way. That's mostly what I've learned from my experience. I promise I didn't set out to intentionally hurt anyone, but I have definitely realized that it's easy to misread people. Sometimes asking someone flat out, hey, is this something you want to do right now or not, can be the best way to be certain that both people are on the same page.
Thank you for joining us today. Now please turn your attention either to the additional content available online if you're completing this course digitally, or to your facilitator if you're completing this course in person.
When starting a new relationship, no matter the title, it's important to consider communication, boundaries, respect, and trust. When you have good communication, it may look like active listening and using I statements to describe your own feelings, and validation and acceptance of the other's experiences. Boundaries are very important and include knowing oneself well enough to articulate what activities you are and are not comfortable with. It might be easier to categorize these into green, yellow, and red. Green means that you're okay with these, yellow means that you're open to discussing, and red means that you are not okay with these. If you do not know your boundaries, it might be better to wait until you do. The next two items on our list are respect and trust. In a relationship, you are engaging in activities that have the potential of harming other people. So, you should respect your partner, including their boundaries, during the entirety of your relationship. It's also important to trust your partner and trust yourself. If at any point something feels off, it might be better just to wait and determine what is off before you go and start anything new or progress in the relationship. When it comes to healthy boundaries, being a student athlete allows for the chance to practice being an adult in a working world environment. Acting professionally should be practiced while around all College of Charleston athletics staff. It is best if boundaries have clearly communicated limits in a relationship. It is also essential to find the confidence in shutting down behavior that crosses a line for you. For example, unwanted touching by a coach. Thank you for your engagement in this module.